Hey guys, so for years, David Fearful convinced investors that his AI startup Metigy was one of Australia's biggest technology success stories. Millions of dollars poured into the company, its valuation soared, and it looked like the next billion-dollar startup. But behind the scenes, the numbers were fiction. Revenue had been fabricated, investors had been misled, and the company money was being used to fund a lavish personal lifestyle. In June 2026, that deception finally caught up with him when an Australian court sentenced him to 9 years in prison. My name is Akeiko, and this is the story of how one of Australia's most promising AI startups unraveled, and how its founder turned what looked like a billion-dollar success into one of the country's most significant startup fraud cases. Unlike many high-profile technology founders, surprisingly little is publicly known about David Fearful's early life. Details about where he grew up, where he went to school, or how he first became interested in technology have never been widely documented. By the time he entered the public eye, he wasn't known as a student or an aspiring entrepreneur. He was already building a career inside Australia's rapidly expanding digital marketing industry. During the late 2000s and early 2010s, online advertising was changing at an extraordinary pace. Facebook and Google were becoming dominant advertising platforms, businesses were shifting their marketing budgets online, and companies were beginning to collect more customer data than ever before. Artificial intelligence was also starting to move beyond academic research and into commercial software, with startups promising to automate everything from customer service to financial analysis. Fearful worked in digital marketing and technology during this period, gaining experience in advertising, software products, and business strategy. Those years exposed him to both the technical challenges facing marketers and the growing enthusiasm among investors for companies claiming to use artificial intelligence to solve them. In 2015, David Fearful and his co-founder, Peter McGriffith, launched Metigy. The company's vision was ambitious, an artificial intelligence platform that could analyze marketing data, predict campaign performance, and help businesses make smarter advertising decisions without requiring a team of data scientists. It was an idea that arrived at exactly the right moment, and within a few years, Metigy would become one of Australia's fastest rising technology startups. Artificial intelligence had become one of the hottest words in the technology industry. Investors were searching for the next generation of software companies, businesses were eager to automate everything from customer support to financial forecasting, and startups with convincing AI stories were raising capital at an extraordinary pace. Metigy entered that environment with a compelling pitch. The platform promised to take the complexity out of digital marketing. Instead of forcing business owners to sift through spreadsheets and advertising dashboards, Metigy claimed its artificial intelligence could analyze data from platforms like Facebook and Google, identify what was working, predict future performance, and recommend the next best action. It wasn't just another social media management tool, it was presented as an intelligent marketing advisor. The idea resonated. Small and medium-sized businesses represented a massive market, and many lacked dedicated marketing teams. A platform that could deliver enterprise-level insights without requiring technical expertise appeared to solve a genuine problem. Early customers praised the software's ease of use, while reviewers highlighted its analytics, automation, and AI-driven recommendations. As the company expanded, investors began taking notice. Funding rounds followed one after another. Metigy secured backing from venture capital firms and accelerator programs, allowing it to grow its engineering teams, expand internationally, and hire staff across Australia and overseas. Over the following years, the company raised more than $17 million in external funding and grew to roughly 75 employees. From the outside, everything suggested the company was on an upward trajectory. Revenue appeared to be growing. New investors continued to come on board. The business was expanding into overseas markets, and confidence around the company only seemed to increase. Few people had any reason to question whether the impressive financial figures being presented actually reflected reality. Behind the polished investor presentations and optimistic headlines, Metigy was becoming increasingly dependent on something far more fragile than innovative software, namely growth. Like many venture-backed startups, the company was expected to grow quickly. Investors wanted to see rising revenue, expanding customer numbers, and evidence that the business could scale into a global technology company. Every successful funding round created even greater expectations for the next one. For legitimate startups, those expectations can be difficult enough to meet. But according to prosecutors, somewhere along the way, the numbers being presented to investors stopped reflecting reality. As later court proceedings revealed, financial information provided during multiple capital raises painted a picture of a business that was generating far more revenue than it actually was. Revenue forecasts became increasingly optimistic, and historical figures presented to investors bore little resemblance to the company's true financial position. The discrepancies were not minor accounting mistakes. Australian authorities alleged that revenue had been substantially inflated, creating the impression that Metigy was a rapidly growing artificial intelligence company on the verge of becoming a major international success. That image proved persuasive. Existing investors continued to support the business, while new investors committed millions of dollars believing they were buying into one of Australia's most promising technology startups. With fresh capital entering the company, Metigy expanded its operations, hired more staff, pursued international growth, and reinforced its public image as a rising star in Australia's technology sector. To employees, customers, and much of the startup community, the company appeared to be thriving. But success built on inaccurate financial information has a fundamental weakness. Eventually, reality catches up. As investors began carrying out more detailed due diligence and the company's finances came under greater scrutiny, questions emerged that could no longer be answered with optimistic projections or ambitious promises. The figures that had helped fuel Metigy's rapid rise were now becoming the focus of intense examination. What followed would transform Metigy from one of Australia's celebrated AI startups into one of the country's most significant corporate fraud cases. By late 2021, the cracks were becoming impossible to ignore. Metigy had ambitions of becoming a global software company, but behind the scenes, its financial position was deteriorating rapidly. The business was consuming cash, investor confidence was beginning to weaken, and the company needed additional funding to continue operating. Then came the turning point. As prospective investors examined Metigy's finances more closely, inconsistencies in the company's reported performance began attracting serious attention. Revenue figures that had been used to demonstrate explosive growth no longer aligned with the underlying financial records. Questions that may have once been answered with optimistic forecasts now required hard evidence. The answers weren't convincing. In November 2021, Metigy entered voluntary administration, effectively acknowledging that it could no longer continue operating in its existing form. For employees, the collapse came as a shock. Many had joined what they believed was one of Australia's fastest-growing AI companies. Customers suddenly faced uncertainty about the future of the platform, while investors were left confronting the possibility that millions of dollars had been invested on the basis of misleading financial information. The company's downfall quickly attracted the attention of regulators. Australia's corporate watchdog, the Australian Securities and Investments Commission, better known as ASIC, launched an extensive investigation into Metigy's fundraising activities. Investigators examined financial records, investor presentations, emails, bank transactions, and witness testimony to determine exactly how the company had raised such significant sums while allegedly presenting a false picture of its financial health. The investigation took years. As ASIC pieced together the evidence, prosecutors alleged that investors had been shown dramatically inflated revenue figures during multiple funding rounds. The case also extended beyond the fundraising itself. Authorities alleged that company funds had been used for personal expenses, including luxury travel, expensive accommodation, restaurant bills, and other purchases that had little or no connection to running the business. By 2025, the investigation had reached its conclusion. David Fearful pleaded guilty to multiple criminal offenses, including misleading investors and dishonestly using his position as a company director. It marked a dramatic reversal for a founder who had once been celebrated as one of Australia's most promising technology entrepreneurs. The only question that remained was how the court would sentence him. Standing before the Federal Court of Australia, David Fearful learned that the deception which had fueled Metigy's rise would ultimately define its legacy. After pleading guilty to multiple criminal offenses, including making false or misleading statements to investors and dishonestly using his position as a company director, the court sentenced him to 9 years imprisonment, with a non-parole period of 6 years. The sentence reflected both the scale of the fraud and the profound impact it had on investors who had trusted the company's representations. In delivering the sentence, the court emphasized that the misconduct was not the product of a single bad decision or a momentary lapse in judgment. It unfolded over an extended period, involved repeated misrepresentations during fundraising, and enabled the company to secure millions of dollars from investors who believed they were backing a rapidly growing artificial intelligence business.
Solutions to them. We wanted to share that with you. So please explore. We have a wonderful program coming over 2018 with lots of ideas and all the information we think are going to make a difference to the way that you run your social marketing program. We love feedback, so if there are things you'd like to know that we haven't covered, then we're more than happy to try and debunk those issues for you. Don't be afraid to reach out. Otherwise, welcome. We hope you really enjoy it.